best point at which your brain is able to calculate things and apply a level of wisdom to life for the younger generation. But you've heard my perspective. I want to invite at this time Dr. Leahcim Semaj. He is a counseling psychologist, he is an author, speaker, to come and to share with us a senior's perspective. Please help me make him welcome.
Mr. Master of Ceremony, Mr. Minister, members of the head table, I found it interesting when I saw this thing, senior's perspective. There are only two times, I'm 73. Huh? There were two times I admit to senior citizens, when I go to the bank and when I go to the tax office, because there's a benefit. But the word senior citizen has about 130 negative connotations. In Jamaica, over the last 30, 35 years, I may be minister of exit strategy. Because of the work I do for companies, as I said in Jamaica, if you see me twice where you work in a week, organize your business. Redundancy plan, because I'm the one that structure those kind of things, you know? But also, a lot of companies call me because of all the work I do for them. Dr. Semaj, can I come and just talk to a group of people for me? They're going to be retiring next month or so on. Now, the most common question I ask when I walk people through the process, they sit there with their mouth open and say, how come nobody told us those things 10 years ago? Even 5 years ago. And that's what so that drove me to write this book last year, The Best Is Yet to Come, where I structure the entire process. It includes a workbook where you can identify exactly where you sit in the whole process. But then as I went into the thing more and more, I realized that, listen, we have some problems because too many, we reached that. What's happening with this? Where are you? Back to the beginning. Start here. All right. That people are just totally uninformed about the whole process. And I think we associate this thing called old age. My position, me not in it, we don't know. Me not play that. All right? This year I wrote this other book called Body Works. Body Works. The subtitle, Exercise, Fitness, Strength, and Longevity for the ankle leg. I see that the ankle leg is the strongest leg. You run right through the tape. So this notion that you sit down, if you sit down, you drop dead. I take my own medicine. What I'm currently doing, I'm training for the Centenarian Olympics. The Centenarian Olympics. What you do, you put together a list of activities that you'd like to do in your decade of decline, the last decade of your life. And mine is from 90 to 99. So calculate already. And all the things I would like to do, not fantasy, I train for them. So I can deadlift my body weight. I can bench press 90% of my body weight. I go to the gym 3 days a week and I do a 5K in the days in between. But that's a whole nother thing. So that we're not just talking it. Now, if you look at how life expectancy has evolved over the years, prehistoric time was between 25 and 35 years. At the time when we created the first Social Security, the first pension plan in Germany in 1889, life expectancy was 48 years. When we first put retirement at 65, it was intended to work. Only 3% of people would ever live that long. So you see, from the very beginning, there was a problem with it. If you look at how in the last 100 years we have gone from 50 years to now, upwards of 80. So that there's a lot of adjustments we need to make. And I don't think we have even started scratching the surface. Time is your most valuable resource. Time. So what if you could get more time? The base of my things, I want more time at the age plateau. What's the age plateau? There's a time when you get to the peak of your competence and creativity. How about extending that? Extending that. If you're not doing that, you're playing games. We want to extend that. Time, money, resources, all of those things perish. But time, you have no control over it. If you get more time, you can do wonderful things with it. So we want that age plateau. The first thing you have to do is get your body working. If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? You have to live in a body. We are gifted with the potential of the longest life expectancy from prehistoric time to now. But guess what? There are only two options you have. You're either going to be old and fragile or old and agile. It doesn't happen by accident. What you do today determines what happens to you tomorrow. And it's never too late to start. Exercise is the most powerful longevity drug. Nothing comes close. Do you know that 15 to 30% of longevity is determined by genetics? People talk about person have good genes and so on. Maximum 30%. Your longevity is largely determined by your lifestyle, your mindset, what you do with it. That's what happens. So that we know what we need to do. Exercise impacts every aspect of your being. Dr. Bissett, I guess you can concur the list of things I have listed. Everything from insulin sensitivity to anti-inflammatory. Exercise impacts everything. Why I lift weights 3 times a week? Well, I'm impacting my possibility of cancer, metabolic disease, dementia, depression, you name it. That's what it's all about, folks. So we know. No, phase 1 is the body. Phase 2 is the mind. I adopt Carl Jung's position. What does Carl Jung say? Life begins at 40. Birth to 40, you're really just doing little research. 40 up is application. What if we could extend the application? That's what we need to do. Get the most out of the application. So there are 2 halves to life. Birth to 40, 40 to 85 plus. Mine is 100, so I'm working on that already. But they say wisdoms come with, I heard it mentioned earlier. It's critical that we understand what this thing is about. What do we do? Let's start with that 40 to 80 group. But then we're going to start working on them. The first half of life, childhood and education and training. The second half, work and family and what I call the anchor leg. We used to call it retirement, but retirement no longer exists. People won't be spending more time in retirement than they did on their last job. Let that sink in. How are we going to deal with that? As was mentioned, it's the fastest growing segment of the population. Japan is a very interesting phenomenon. They're selling more adult diapers than baby diapers. We're not far behind in terms of what is happening. So that it is during this time, this concept of retirement at 65 came about. We need to rethink that completely. Because what has happened is that we're cutting short, to a large extent, people at the peak of their productivity. This nation can't afford that. As I said, life expectancy was 45 years when retirement was first pitched at 65. We can't afford that foolishness. So it's about time we start rethinking it completely. Now, how are we going to do that? If you look at what has happened, just look at persons who have gotten Nobel Prize for physics. Look what has happened over the years. It isn't big enough for you to see the numbers. The most recent group of Nobel laureates of physics, age was 72. The price at which Nobel physicists have been, it has steadily gone older and older and older. Let's work with that. That's why I say older means better. I choose to sage, not age. We have an option. All right? So we have to change our attitude towards aging. There are more, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. There are more and more persons that are showing you the sharpness of mind that comes with time. The Rolling Stone is still touring. What are the ages? Mick Jagger is 81. Still rocking. So that's a reality, folks. Dr. Ruth died recently at 95. Still working. Still working. So that this is not something we're guessing about. It is real. Clint Eastwood is 94 and still making movies. This thing about sitting home with a rocking chair and... In Jamaica, we haven't even started scratching the surface. The talent pool. Mind and body. We can work on both of them. 10 years ago, I wrote a paper, which I submitted at a presentation I was doing with the Development Bank of Jamaica, that Jamaica has 6 paths to prosperity. Then for me, the number 1 was the brightest and the best, our bright, sharp young people. One little problem with that. The younger, the brighter you are, is the greater the chance you're going to be migrating. So that, and especially with our birth rate being higher than America and Canada and Britain, they're going to just take all our bright young people, whether we like it or not. Now, what are the other groups? Well, we don't have time to go through all of them. But it's that one called the tried and the proven. You know who those are? 10 years ago, I called it. And I think it's about time for us to do something about it. The tried and the proven with the encore careers. Because these people are at the peak of their productivity. And we can find a way. In fact, I am going to make it happen. One thing, I don't join movements. I move. I just move. If you want to come with me, you're welcome. All right? But I'm going to make it happen. Tried and proven. That's the number 1 option Jamaica has for prosperity. That largest growing group of people who have been tried and tested and proven is our best path to prosperity. And chances are, guess what? They're not catching the next plane leaving Jamaica. They're going to be here for a while. All right? So we can make it work. I mentioned the fertility rate issue, but there's a whole other time we can get into that. He made a point a while ago about intelligence. We have 2 forms of intelligence, fluid and crystallized intelligence. All right? Fluid intelligence peaks at between 20 and 30. That's when you can do all kind of calculations in your head. Boom, bam, 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 bam. But then it drops. The other intelligence is called crystallized intelligence. It accumulates with age. Because you can put a lot of material you can scan and you can pull together and you can see the patterns and the relationship. That is what we have to trade on. I asked ChatGPT to give me a graphic to show difference of crystallized versus. Now, look at the oldest man in the room. That's what they use to show the age. Look at the size of his book compared to everybody else's book. That's what he's working with. The knowledge base he has that he can draw on. Welcome to the elite club. Can I see the hands of those of us over 70? Welcome to the elite club. You understand that Jamaica, only 6% of us. Very special group. Now, if you look at what is happening, but Jamaica is not doing bad at all. As we compare ourselves to the lower middle income country, even the middle income country. Right? That special group of people, the elite. Now, we have to find a way to maximize. Once you reach 70, folks, that's how much more time left on your odometer. So we can calculate, we can work it out, we know what's happening, we know what we need to do. How are you going to use that time? Huh? How are you going to use that time? Because as you have 8,760 hours each year after age 65. How much TV you can watch? How much games you can play? We have a productive mind. We have to find a way. The good news, time to change our perspective towards age. We talk about healthy aging. Because the data tells us that people 60 and older who form companies and start business are 3 times as likely to be successful as somebody 30 or younger. I'm starting 2 new businesses this year. You know, if anybody ever, I know this is Mr. Minister, NIS come under you. If ever you want somebody to run NIS, may I apply for the job from now. We can rethink NIS completely. You know, one thing I would do with NIS, first of all, I would raise the threshold. Raise the threshold because NIS is not a tax, it's a savings. And it's the only thing that most Jamaicans will have to get anything back from. But then, you see, once you reach 65, you can go into NIS with a business plan. And NIS will provide you the money. We decide to set the threshold. You know, at 65, you should be coming from prison, not going to prison. So you're not going to teach the money. But one thing, Mr. Minister, the person who gets that grant will have to hire 2 young people to mentor and to teach them. All the money we're using to give to young people to start business, 90% of new business fail within the first year. I'm sure most of those young people, it'll be even greater than 90%. So that's what, listen, I have about 10 more such plans. So look at the graph, it tells us that. We need our people 60 and over to be starting business. Putting things to work, all those great ideas you couldn't get a chance to work with. We can make that happen. Again, if I don't see it, this is one of the businesses that I'll be launching this year. Sankoria Professional Development Institute, an online e-learning platform with 150 courses. All the things I used to do in companies, we want to do it on your phone and on, but that's a whole other thing. From anywhere you are in the universe, you can get educated. All right? Everybody have a smartphone. We can work with you. All right? My other business is called Tried and Proven Fractionals. You know that name, Fractionals? Many companies, you need a senior technical person. You need a manager. But you only need them for 10% of the time, 20% of the time. What about all those retired people with all those skills? Huh? How can we make them, get them fractional appointments anywhere in the world? And they can just stay right here and collect their money. It can be done, folks. It can be done. And so that's one of the reasons why I titled my book, The Best Is Yet to Come. Because that's where we're heading. I also have a podcast, How to Thrive in Retirement. And that's free. You go online, just type in How to Thrive in Retirement, and every week there's a new information out there. Because I do believe it's our best option for prosperity. That group of intelligent, creative, productive people, don't put them out to pasture. Give them work to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Semaj. More than food for thought, more than a mouthful. In fact, when he started out by talking about, needing to exercise and do all those things, minister started to say, boy, I'm not doing as well as he. is doing. So I have to go looking at myself. But he looks so well for 70. Yeah, he looks so well for 73. I shouldn't be taking away 3 years from you. But thank you so much. One more time for Dr. Leahcim Semaj, everybody.